Yo, 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 it is me, LiveUP, and this is at UP Fitness Live. It's Wednesday night, it's 9 PM, it's actually 9:01, just turned as I said that. This is our live feed where we go through everything that UP is doing, is about to do, has done, all of our products, our online products, any advice you need from me, any direct information you need from me, any myths, anything you need answering that is going around on social media right now. I'm here for the next hour to give you my time to answer everything and anything you could possibly need. We've got loads of you already coming in. As always, I'll start with any announcements, and this time we do have announcements. I announced a few weeks ago that I was going to be taking over the training boot camps in Marbella. Now, we are going to be running these training camps. It's a 3-day training camp with me, which will be going on from the 3rd until the 6th of October this year, 2019, out at our Marbella gym. Now, that's going to encompass everything from strength training, training for hypertrophy, advanced muscle building techniques, fat loss and conditioning techniques, recovery and stress management techniques. It's going to include about 6 full-on training sessions, some odd little practical bits here and there as well, plus essentially 3 days of lectures out here in the sun by the sea. We're going to be doing mountain walks. You've got a guest PT coming in, not even a guest PT, guest coach coming in on the recovery day. So there'll be all sorts of stuff going on now. Because I wanted to see plenty of you there, I set that up for 50 people. We have a limit of 50 people. Now, there are very, very few left. Tickets went out a week ago. You can go to my private profile, Elliot Upton, and you can hit the link in the bio. That will take you immediately to the tickets. We had 50 tickets up for sale. They have nearly all gone. So if you want in on that training camp with me in person, 3 days of training and education, on the 3rd to the 6th of October 2019, go to my private profile, Elliot Upton, that's 2 L's and 2 T's in Elliot. Hit the link in the bio, get your tickets. You can put a deposit down, £105 deposit, which secures your place, and then you can pay off the remaining balance at a later date. That secures you, gets you in there. Or you can pay the entire thing off in one go. So don't miss out. We're going to have an amazing time. We've got loads of people from our very own LiveUP squad on there. We've got our online training clients on there. We've got our in-gym training clients on there. So it's going to be an awesome 3 days. I really, really can't wait for it. Right, now I've got that out of the way, I will speak to a bunch of you, whoever's coming in. We've got Jill is the first to say hello. Hello, Jill. What's up, Ed? We've got plenty of you coming in. Our own Jess. Loads of my LiveUP guys and girls. Loads of them, loads of them, loads of them. Ed, who's giving a round of applause. Boom, boom, boom. Kev, Arch, any plans for NYC UP Fitness? I believe premises are being looked at now. So if you're in New York, tell all of your friends UP will be there soon. Make sure that there is a queue at the door when we open. Sunny Foot, I'm about to finish my 12-week transformation. I'm in the best shape of my life. I was thinking of, let's wait a minute. Thinking of joining LiveUP, but I've been told by a doctor I have umbilical hernia and should avoid weight training. Honestly, it would be irresponsible for me to give you any advice aside from what your doctor has told you, because I can't physically examine you myself. So doctor's orders, unfortunately, are pretty final. It may well just be a short-term thing. Find out what the doctor's recommendations are long-term, because I can't imagine it would be give up weight training entirely. Just see what they say and work with your doctor and with your PT, your one-to-one PT, to try and make sure you can get everything done properly. LiveUP may not necessarily be the way to go if you have specific medical conditions like that, because it's not as adjustable as you may want it to be. I'm just going to spin the YouTube camera around a bit here. There you go, the frame's a bit better now. Right, Gabrielle, what's up? Villy, knee has started to ache, beginning of arthritis maybe. Physio says squats are a no-no. In general, would you agree? Almost never, but it depends on how you squat. For most people who say that squats are a no-no, it tends to ring alarm bells for me, but your physio will know how you are moving and your particular lever lengths and your specific issues and ailments more than I will. So maybe take their advice. What's up, James? One of the superstars, Alex DaCosta. Yo, yo. I'm T-Joe. I seem to be injuring my front delts a fair bit recently. Anything I can do to strengthen this area? The chances are, what you'll be doing, let me adjust this as well. Chances are you're probably not injuring your front delts. It's probably like a bicep tendon tine or something. Are you doing too much pressing work? Are you doing an awful lot of benching or push-ups or overhead pressing, that kind of thing? There's a very good likelihood that it would be something like that. It usually is. When people start getting issues around the deltoid area, it's more often than not because they're doing too much pressing. It's very rarely anything to do with the actual deltoids itself. I myself have had it. It was a bicep tendon tie-in, but Any reason to avoid fructose in post-gym foods? Saw it on a Strength Sensei post because it doesn't act in quite in the same way as sugars. It goes straight to the liver and gets processed rather than it being insulinogenic and giving you the ability to open up the muscle cells to absorb nutrients more quickly. So it's just not optimal. However, that being said, certain types of food, especially tropical foods, elevate serotonin, which can push down cortisol post-workout. There's certain interactions with that, so it can be useful post-workout for certain people, but for others, not necessarily. So it's one of them. You're better off having some form of carbohydrate. Perfect and most simple choice for the majority of people post-workout is something like white rice or potato. Very, very good way of getting the nutrients into your body. Obviously, that is saying after you've had something like your whey protein shake or whey protein shake with carbohydrates built in it. Elliot, what's the main difference in seated overhead press and standing? One of them is seated, the other one is standing. I can't ask because in my home gym I can't military press standing due to the height restriction. There's going to be slight difference in metabolic activity because you're having to stand. You're using a lot more muscles to stabilize when you're standing. You're using a lot more muscles to balance, whereas you're seated, you're probably going to be able to lift a little bit heavier maybe because you're a bit more stable. On the converse side of that, when you're seated, you can't cheat, you can't do any push presses, so potentially it's going to improve your form, but really the main difference is going to be that one of them's standing, the other one's seating. There are mild differences elsewhere though. That could be it. I've worked yoga into my sessions a lot, which might just be putting too much pressure on the shoulder area. Very, very likely. One of the things, I actually went and tried a hot yoga class here with a really, really good friend of mine, Hannah. And inside the class, obviously it's difficult for me because of what I do for a living, but it was one of the most imbalanced physical exercise classes I've ever done, and that's saying something. You know, it was an hour and a half of hot yoga, and there was very little thought to the actual muscle activity that was going into this class. Pose after pose after pose, and yes, of course, it was challenging, but a lot of the people in there were complaining of headaches and this, that, and the other, and the lady said, yeah, it's just because of the heat and this, that, and the other. It absolutely wasn't. The way the class was taught was basically because they were massively overworking the traps, the levator scap, and it would have been causing massive tension headaches in all the participants. Obviously, I tried to just step away and not say anything, but often, yes, things like yoga classes can be very, very imbalanced. As much as they may seem like a good idea, they're not often programmed with the same what's the appropriate word to use? Attention involved as, say, a bodybuilding style program. They can work well together when balanced correctly and coached correctly. So it could be something like that, yes. Hey Nick, how are you? Welcome Azzy, no problem. Katie, what's up? Vivian, I've got bursitis on my elbow and I'm bulking. Can I replace upper body day with a 45-minute walk on a treadmill, or should I lower my weekly KC? What's your KC, Viviana? Not sure what your KC is. If you're trying to bulk, you're not going to be wanting to waste calories on doing things like cardio. You know, I'm not a massive fan of the whole bulking and cutting thing. It's not the way I do things. But if you're trying to bulk, then why replace something with cardio, which is going to start to waste a load of calories and potentially chew away at some muscle? Use it as rest it. And I'm not sure what KC is, as I say. So do give me a shout on that. Calories, again, not necessarily. You may just need the recovery. If you've got things like bursitis, it's often a sign of overuse. You know, bursitis is usually a sign of excessive friction in a particular area. Overuse, which could potentially mean you're overtraining, which could also then potentially mean if you keep your calories roughly where they are, give yourself a couple of weeks rest, the calories are actually going to help you recover and grow a lot faster, and maybe then allow you to reassess your training to make sure there is the right amount of activity based on what you're able to recover from. Gabrielle, what are my thoughts on L-carnitine? L-carnitine is an absolutely awesome supplement. Now, a lot of people use it for its miracle effects on fat loss, which it doesn't really make a massive difference. You know, you're not going to take it and suddenly start dumping tons and tons of fat. However, what it is phenomenal for is giving you massive boosts of both physical and mental energy. So don't take it in the evening and afternoon. But if you take it before your workout, if you take it earlier on in the morning, it's really going to light you up. It lights up your brain activity. Certainly I feel it does. And it can be really beneficial with that. And that in itself, despite the small effect on fat loss, which it does have, but it's not going to be this miracle pill that you all want it to be, it is potentially going to make you more motivated, more energetic, and train harder and be more active generally. So I'm a big fan of it. That alongside its kind of more scientific effects. The problem is I don't like going into that kind of stuff too much, is because then you all rely on it as a miracle pill. If you think that it's a pill that burns loads of fat, you stop doing what you need to do and just start taking more of that, which doesn't really work out. What are your thoughts on carnitine? Triceps, why do them? Is it to fatigue more or to speed up training? It's kind of neither. It's a good way of progressing through volume. By getting extra volume into the session, you're going to be progressively overloading, and then obviously we can back off like a wave loading kind of programming. It's going to allow more volume without having you in the gym for a very, very long time, but it's not about building up fatigue. It's about building up potential muscle damage. It's about progressively overloading. It's about adding more volume to the training session in order to force adaptation. Thoughts on 5-HTP? I heard it's great alongside magnesium. It's absolutely phenomenal alongside magnesium. Very, 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 very good for settling you down and allowing you phenomenal sleep. 5-hydroxytryptophan basically, which is going to allow you, it calms you down, settles everything down, which is what magnesium does. So when they work in synergy, it's very, very useful. My lower back hurts after sumo deadlifts. Is that normal, or am I lifting too heavy? Depends what you mean when you say it hurts. Is it, you know, is it DOMS, i.e. is there some muscle activity there, in which case yes, completely normal, or is it a pain, is it a radiating pain slightly deeper, or is it in the SI joint but you think it's in your back? Is it in your, there's a million different things it could be. Potentially if it's around the SI joint, it could be that your glutes are just too tight from such a wide stance. The upper glutes, the glute medius, is going to start to get a little bit too active. It's going to pull, so you could need that releasing, and that will take away the back pain almost immediately. It could be the QL, quadratus lumborum, which sits between the ribs and the pelvis, slightly to the side of the spine, which is maybe a bit weak, or it's been overworked. It could be the spinal erectors. There's a million things it could be. If it's causing you DOMS, that's fairly normal. If it's causing you a physical structural pain, then it could mean an imbalance or a tightness somewhere that you do have to address. You're welcome, Gabrielle. Mika, Elliot, how would you work as regards to diet with a person with slow and damaged metabolism? Rapid results take place with a big dietary deficit, but is there a risk of damaging metabolism? Mika, honestly, it's a difficult one. Number one, I'd want proof that the metabolism was as damaged as somebody says it was, because the thing is with us humans is, on the whole, we bounce back. Despite the abuse that we give our bodies always try to return to some level of equilibrium, some level of normality. So before I would jump in and make conclusions, I would want conclusive proof that someone's metabolism is as damaged as they says it is. If that is the case, I would find out where it is that they start losing fat, if fat loss with the goal, unless they're already eating too few calories. If they're already eating too few calories, I wouldn't put them in a deficit at all. I would gradually build their calories up over time until they started losing fat, which they would. So I wouldn't continue to take away calories. I wouldn't create a massive deficit. I would find out if it is factual, if they genuinely have the issue. If so, address it in a slightly different way by trying to improve and optimize the body rather than trying to just rip away a ton of calories. What's the best way to build up my weaker side? To train it independently would be the best bet, I would imagine. Samir, when doing compound exercises, focus more on heavy weights rather than tempo, and vice versa for isolation exercise. No, Samir, you're still using the tempo, especially on the LiveUP plan where the tempo is prescribed. Yes, you are focusing on lifting as heavy as you possibly can on the compound lifts with good form. But your tempo is always going to be adhered to. You do need to adhere to the tempo. If you're not going to get the results you want. Now, you're not necessarily going to feel target muscles in the same way on compound movements that you will on isolation movements, for instance. So I expect different levels of kind of, essentially the pump is going to come in the isolation. Your overall strength and the metabolic activity is going to come mainly from the compound lifts. Mini Rachel, you're welcome. As you're talking about sumo deadlifts, I have an uncomfortable feeling in my hips when attempting to do them. I just stick to conventional, but I'd love to be able to do sumos. Any tips to help this hip issue? It sounds to me like you've got tight hips then, as you need to do more stretching. You need to make sure your hips are mobile, your glutes are mobile, your hamstrings and adductors are mobile, your hip flexors are mobile. If you can get that, chances are you'll be able to get into a better hip position. So do lots of stretching and mobilization work. However, if you have no problem with a conventional deadlift, there's no real reason to be doing sumo. Obviously, sumo is getting super trendy right now. It's all over everywhere. Everyone wants to do sumo deadlifts, but for me, I still prefer conventional. All right, it's caught up on the questions. We're only 15 minutes in. You guys are slow today. Don't worry, I'm not leaving. I'm just getting more water. I'm curious. Where are we all from today? Put your location. I want to know. On the LiveUP plan, can you just explain to me why we're allowed so many fats? I certainly can. Number one, because it gives you a massive amount of energy. Number two, because they nourish the gut. And it's a pretty safe assumption that anyone who comes to me to get into shape has a pretty well fucked gut because of the inflammatory foods and drinks that they feed it. Fats help to nourish the gut. Fats stabilize blood sugar so they stop massive energy peaks and troughs. Fats give you a burst of energy. Fats are what supplies the substrates that you need to produce your hormones, your sex hormones. They're going to help improve your skin. It's going to help improve all of your cellular health, your hair, your nails. Everything works better on the whole with a diet that is high in good fats. That's why on the LiveUP plan I give you so many fats, because it optimizes your health extremely quickly. How do UP get so good results in such a short time? People lose fat and gain muscle at the same time. We know that to do both at the same time is hard. You work in phases. Mika, we just do everything better than everybody else. It's very simple. Now, that sounds very arrogant, but let me try to explain it and put it in context. Every single rep you perform counts, okay? It really is that simple. Now, to put that in perspective, one of the things I use as an example at my seminars that I do across the UK is that one of the reasons UP gets better results is we do not allow you to get away with shit reps, say. If, for instance, you do 2 or 3 shit reps per set on a workout where you are doing, let's say, 20 sets, for argument's sake. This means if you've lost 3 reps through shit form or poor tempo, or something is off, or you've just been a little bit lazy, or you haven't lifted enough weight, you lose 3 reps per set on a 20 set workout, you've just lost 60 reps in one session, right? 60 reps. Over, let's say, 3 times a week, you've lost 180 reps. That's an entire workout a week lost. That over a 12-week transformation is another 12 workouts, which is another 3 weeks. Because we pay so much attention to every single detail on making sure the weight lifted is correct, making sure how the weight is lifted is correct, making sure rest periods are correct. We dial everything into every single detail, which means we do not lose time. That, and we care more about our clients often than our clients care about themselves, which tends to make them slightly more compliant. Now, people say one of the most common things we hear when people come to UP recruitment days, and one of the questions we ask is, why do you want to come to UP? And one of the things that tends to come out of the crowds of people at the recruitment days is, because I want to train clients like UP clients. Somehow thinking that we get different clients to the rest of the world. The fact of the matter is we do not. We just do more with the clients that we have. We care more, we have more attention to detail. We can get our clients to buy into us better because we deliver a better service across the board. It is that simple. People think that we work crazy miracles. People think that the stuff that we do is impossible. Even on LiveUP, you know, people say there's no way this can be done for £50 a month. It can, and it repeatedly is, because we will do what everybody else won't. We will pay attention. You know, I spend the majority of my time, you know, my average day is between 7 a.m. and probably 1 a.m. I do long days, but it's because, I know I've got a lot of people to look after, and I get a kick, I get a buzz out of getting the results out of everybody on LiveUP, out of doing what I do. I love my job, and that is the same that occurs across the whole of UP. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a high pressure environment, but it's one of the most rewarding high pressure environments any person could possibly be in. And because we have that fever for it, because we have that passion for it, we deliver it to our clients with the same level of effort, you know, a level of effort that matches that passion. Then the client tends to reflect it, the client buys in even more, client does what they're told, and we don't miss any reps. Every bit of detail counts. I went on for that one. Thoughts on colonic irrigation? Sounds like a pain in the arse. No, I've got no thoughts on it. I've not had it done, but I know a number of people who have. I can imagine it's, you know, relatively useful, but it's very important too. And what a lot of these people do not do is make sure you go on a course of probiotics afterwards, because it's going to wash out an awful lot of stuff in your colon that you need. And if that's come out, you have to replace it. Chocolate treats, when in the day is it better to drink them? Well, for me, I just have it if I'm really hungry. I'll have maybe limit myself to 1 a day. But if I'm absolutely starving, it's that or a Mars bar. Can you get the same results with CrossFit style training than you would with time and attendance resistance training? Absolutely not. That's why your average CrossFit box gym goer doesn't look like your average bodybuilder. Got the UP books. My protein target is 85 grams, which seems really low. How closely should I stick to my macros? You should absolutely stick to your macros. That's not low at all for a female, unless you're, you know, if you're like 80, 90 kilos, that's not that low for a female. It's a really good starting point. Deb Louise, what's the good points and bad points on walking daily? I walk 2 to 5 miles per day now. I don't believe there are any bad points. The good points are tenfold. They get you more active, they're gonna make you healthier, they're gonna stop you from getting basically, or prevent you, the likelihood of you getting basically every chronic disease going. It's going to clear your mind, it's going to make your brain healthy, it's going to improve your mental health, it's going to burn fat off you, it's going to help your digestive system work better, it's going to help you maintain a hormonal balance more effectively than you can any other way. To me, there are no bad points to going out and getting a walk every day, unless you're walking through Serengeti and you get eaten by a lion. That suck. Can't do back squats or deadlifts from long history of back pain. No doctor has helped. It's right over my SI joint. Any recommendations from your experience? Maybe we've missed. Have you had it scanned, Jay? Mark? It's Mark. If you had it scanned so you can actually see the structure, if there's something structural there, if no one's scanned it, that's your first mistake, because it'd be interesting to see what's actually going on there. If you have had it scanned and nothing's showing up, it's probably either your QL, there's maybe a little rupture in it, or there's some issues, some inflammation around the joint there, or it's your glute med, which ties around that kind of area and again can cause a lot of problems. So if that's the case, you need to get it released, you need to work on strengthening the whole area and then hopefully go on there. But again, without seeing specifics, it's very, very difficult for me to figure out what's going on there, unfortunately. Azzy, I've been following a 1B neurotype program, definitely feeling enjoyment aspect, but I don't know if it necessarily means the most effective form of training. In my opinion, it's not. I understand all of that neurotype and actually did some training myself with one of the biggest and most famous advocates for it, and someone who is a very, very highly respected strength coach who did my neurotyping. Don't get me wrong, the training was incredibly fun, but I've never been so injured in my life. After 3 weeks of it, I couldn't lift. After 3 weeks of it, I had to take about 6-7 weeks off. I destroyed both my wrists, destroyed my elbow, tore my hamstring, ruined my glutes, ruined my hips in general, actually, not just my glutes. So the neurotyping, yes, it's fun, but if it's not effective, each to their own, you know. Everyone wants that little gimmick to hold on to. I'm not about that. I'm about results. Hello, Clorg. Shapeshifter, love listening to that passion tonight. Thanks, Shapeshifter. James, he isn't bullshitting about working around the clock. My check-in came in at 4 AM a couple of weeks back. Top support every week. We do our best. It can be a bit of a bitch, but we do our best. Mike Atkins, hi, I really appreciate you taking the time to do these Q&As. What's your opinion on the use of sweeteners in protein powders? Depends on the type of sweetener. Like plant-based sweeteners, I don't have many problems with. Artificial sweeteners, less so. It's very, very difficult, you know, because of the sort of stuff that are in protein supplements, it's very, very difficult to make them taste good without loading them up with a lot of sugars. This is why the majority of them are loaded up with a lot of sugars. However, if you have something like a whey protein, a low-carb whey protein, then having something like stevia as the flavoring or as the sweetener would be preferable if you can. However, with things like our Amplify, for instance, which has a very, very high leucine content, pretty much the only thing that is going to cover that taste is sugar. Now, what you've also got to bear in mind is that post-workout, a lot of the time, for instance, if you're taking your shake post-workout, which you should be, in my opinion, you don't want to be having shakes at any other time of day. Post-workout, having sugar in a protein shake, having sugar in a supplement is not a bad thing, because it's going to elevate insulin, it's going to open up muscle cells for nutrient absorption and suck everything in. So that is a very, very beneficial thing. So don't stress about it too much if you're talking about your post-workout shake. However, if you're one of these people that chooses to start chugging down whey protein day after day after day after day, instead of eating proper food, then it could be a bit more of an issue for you. Diastasis recti in men, any knowledge? No. Genetically, some people are just a little bit more barrel shaped. I'm exactly that person. I've got a big barrel around my stomach. I'm not, you know, I don't have super lean, not super lean, don't have a super narrow waist, super narrow core. If you've overextended, you know, if you eat massive portions, that can always be a problem. So reduce your portion sizes, eat as regularly as possible, but very, very small meals to help reduce waist size and potentially stop any stretching of the stomach. Work on your core strength, work on doing ab drawing in maneuvers, work on doing a lot of general ab work just to tighten up your midriff, and it may well help, but it's not necessarily going to pull the abdominal wall back in. That's not likely to happen. If it's sat out like that, and you're a grown man, it's going to stay out like that. There's not much you can do with it. How do I work out my calorie deficit? Mothering, the best way to work out your calorie deficit is to keep a food diary for, let's say, a week of everything you eat and drink, absolutely everything. Now, are you losing weight currently, gaining weight, or are you stable in your weight? Depending on which one of those three things is happening, on your average calories you work out of that week, you know to either take some away or keep them there. If you're steadily losing weight currently and you are taking, let's say, 2,000 calories, then keep it at 2,000 calories. However, if you're taking 2,000 calories and you haven't been losing any weight, take 100 calories away and see what happens. Assess yourself again. Very, very simple. There's a million different formulas that allow you to give this a go and that a go and blah, 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 blah. But most of them are relatively inaccurate and they are just establishing a baseline. Most of you are going to benefit from keeping a food diary for a while and some slightly more intuitive style eating and understanding what's going on in your body. Apologies for that. My phone is warning me that my battery is already running out, which is a concern. Not good. Been scanned, no problem. Had the SI joint injected, also without help, so cortisone injections. The chances are, MJ, then that inflammation is probably coming from super, super tight hips. So it would be worth seeing a good sports therapist, getting your hips released. So that will be your glute med specifically. Really, really helps if you can loosen that area off. Get your QL released properly along the border of the iliac. Start moving better, start stretching regularly, because if you can release your hips a little bit, chances are that's going to take away the inflammation around that area to a degree. Strengthen your glute max, so there's less pressure on the glute med to kind of be a prime mover as well as a stabilizer, and that's likely to take a bit of the tension off the area. There's a bunch of stuff you can do. I know I've just said a lot of things there. Maybe re-watch it in a little bit and make some notes on that. It's sometimes difficult for me to train, super hard. And then be active in my life. I'm having that issue lately. I train hard, but I'm turning less active in my day-to-day life. What's the question, Mika? Are there any more London seminars this year? There is a hypertrophy camp at Mayfair, I believe, so check that out. It'll probably be on the UP Fitness profile here. I won't be hosting that, but it'll be well worth turning up to at our Mayfair gym. Will Lucas deadlift seminar be on YouTube? No, it will not. They are private seminars that we hold here at Marbella, so no, it will not be on YouTube. If you want us to come out and see one of these seminars, then you need to get your ass out to Marbella and get to one of the seminars. Luca will be assisting me with the big one in October, which will be really, really cool. He's a very, very smart young man, and he's got a lot of potential in the industry ahead of him, so you will all get to meet Mr. Luca, and he will take you through some of the lifting techniques on the strength day specifically on the, that'll be done on Saturday, I think, which is the first day. Be awesome. It'll be awesome. Yeah, one of the things that all of you out there, as a few of you now mentioned back pain, 99% of us out here, male or female, are going to end up with back pain, and the majority of it can be prevented or cured by mobilizing your hips properly, allowing your hips to move, getting your glutes loosened off, getting your abductors and adductors loosened off, and then strengthening your glutes. For those of you out there who are complaining of back pain, and let's say you do a lot of squatting or you do a lot of deadlifting and do these things, but you don't do any hip thrusting, take all the squats and deadlifts out for a few weeks and just do hip thrusting, you might be surprised by the effect it has on rebalancing your hips a little bit. That's interesting. I've noticed I get brain fog, generally feel a bit wavy if I have a waist shake and any other time in post-workout. Why specifically is that? That's hard to say, Mike. That could suggest that you may have some mild intolerance to something in a particular shake you're having. That sounds to me like a mild allergic reaction. So maybe check the ingredients against something that you know you might be allergic to. If not, get a food intolerance test. That could be my only, on the top of my head, that would be my only assumption there. Is warming up necessary, and if yes, what's the best way? Easy fitness, yes, it is absolutely necessary. And if you go to my YouTube channel, I've put a warm up there, really, really quick one, which I rapidly filmed on my phone because one of you asked. Easiest thing is to do a 5-minute pulse raiser. For me, I actually do 10 minutes on one of the big step mills because it really gets my heart going. I'm pissing with sweat by the end of that. And then a dynamic warm up, which should take you to anywhere between 3 and 5 minutes, full body warm up. If you go over to my YouTube channel, and you'll be able to find that on there, just look up for warm up on my videos list. Elliot, I know we're not supposed to, but from the start of LiveUP plan, we weigh ourselves. But from the start, and we're not meant to. I did out of curiosity, and so I've only lost 4 pounds per pic, show a difference in shape. Yeah, that's why I don't ask you to weigh yourselves, Katie, because your weight's absolutely irrelevant. You can completely change shape, but you can gain weight. The problem is, especially with you females, I don't mind the guys weighing themselves because they can let it go, but what a lot of you females do is even if you had the best transformation in the world, but you'd gained a kilo, you'd go absolutely crazy and start binging on chocolate and pizza. So this is why I say don't weigh yourself. This means, Katie, don't weigh yourself, please. Consider yourself told off. Well done on the 4 pounds though. How long do you recommend to warm up and stretch before starting the strength weight session? Mika, as I just mentioned, I would suggest a 5 to 10 minute pulse raiser on something like a big step mill or a rower or a bike with a decent resistance on it, and then a 3 to 5 minute dynamic warm up should suffice. If you go over to my YouTube channel, you will see me do that in real time. Can you explain to me how you can only lose a bit, but your shape shows massive difference? Because what you are losing in fat, Katie, you are going to offset that weight in gained muscle. If you go over to my profile, Elliot Upton is, have I taken it off there? I've already taken it off there. If you go over to my profile, my personal profile, you will see a video of me sitting in front of a little whiteboard. I've drawn a little graph on it. Go and watch that video and it explains it absolutely perfectly. Essentially, as you are losing weight from fat, which if that's all you were doing, your weight would come down. What we try to do in order to get transformation is make you lose weight from fat whilst putting on weight from muscle. This means there is going to come a point where you hit an equilibrium where your weight either doesn't change or doesn't change, or well, even potentially goes up when you get very, very lean. But it means that the weight loss is not going to be as fast as you think it is going to be. You're not going to lose such a significant amount of weight because what you are losing in fat, you are going to start to slowly gain in muscle. That's basically the simplest explanation. Some awesome transformations on your and UP Instagram recently is LiveUP, a contract based and rolling month by month. First 3 months we expect a full commitment, 12 weeks we expect a full commitment because you're not getting a proper result if you're not committed to at least that amount. It shows exactly the wrong state of mind. After that it is a rolling month by month where you can cancel depending on where you want to. Obviously if you do cancel and you want to go back in, you do have to start from the beginning. You can't just jump in where you left off, unfortunately. Providing I'm not charring or caramelizing my food too often and I'm using healthy oil like coconut oil, olive oil, are there any detrimental health body comp effects that come from frying most meals? Yes, Mike, because when you fry even good oils, they turn into saturated fats. A lot of oils, you're going to actually change the chemical structure of them, and they go from being a good, healthy, well, more healthy fat. They're going to go from more healthy fat and monounsaturated fats towards a saturated fat. Now, an amount of saturated fat is important. It's very, very good. It's good for you. However, too much of it can have very, very detrimental effects. So frying all of your food, yes, I would not advise that. It's probably not smart. Damn right, Katie, that is you told. Robbie, what's up? Welcome to the plan. Caught up with questions, folks. Again, I'm on fire today. Isn't it better to take a little bit more time to lose weight and not do it so fast that skin can't shrink accordingly to that fast speed? Yes, potentially, but that's really only relevant to people who are weighing, have got quite a lot of fat to lose. And the reality of it is that if you have loose skin, if you're gonna get loose skin, then you are gonna get loose skin. It's that simple. Stretch marks are slightly different. The faster you lose weight, the higher your likelihood of stretch marks. With regards to loose skin, that's more about the overall size you were to the overall size that you end up. Whereas stretch marks, that's more about the sheer speed of it. So, realistically, unless you're an idiot and you're doing things through, say, a Weight Watchers style diet or something like that, you're not going to lose fat at such an unhealthy rate that occurs. For the majority of people who are of average levels of body fat, it's usually not something to worry about because you can only lose weight so fast. And obviously, if you're doing it correctly, you're not trying to lose weight, you're trying to lose fat, which means you should be aiming for a transformation, which means you're going to be gaining muscle whilst losing fat, which is going to go some way to filling out a little bit of that skin. Phase 1, can I use gels for my long runs? Robbie, you shouldn't be doing long runs if you want to get results on the LiveUP plan. At no point anywhere in the LiveUP plan do I say go on long runs. Been taking magnesium on your advice from here in the last month. Noticed such good difference in sleep quality, so thank you. You're most welcome. Magnesium is an unbelievable supplement, and you know, it is that go-to supplement. When people say, if I could just take one, just one for the rest of my life, what would it be? It would, without any shadow of a doubt, be magnesium. It's got such a profound effect on basically everyone I've ever seen use it, myself included. Really, really highly recommend it. Anyone who needs some, go to upfitness.com, type magnesium in the search bar and pick yourself up some. Take anywhere between 2 or 4 capsules of ours per night. You can get either the Ultra Mag or the 3 and 8, depending on, they both essentially do the same thing. 3 and 8 is a little more effective on the brain if you're kind of one of these people that thinks too much when you go to sleep. But get between 2 and 4 caps per night, depending on what you find is most effective for you, and you will sleep like a baby. When you are sleeping like a baby, everything else in your life gets better, and it gets better quickly. You're more productive, you're smarter, you are faster, you are fitter, you're more motivated, you recover better, you can lift more, you can lift more often. Everything improves, everything improves. When you're losing your sleep, your appetite is going to get out of control, it's going to get a bit rampant, so you're going to be more compliant on your diet. Magnesium really, really is that good. Nick King, I was one step ahead of you. Hopefully you've just heard me say that. If not, you're going to have to come back to 36 minutes into this and hear me bleat on about all of that again. Hatton, if I can't make the total number of reps due to fatigue, should I go down on weight or reps? Hatton, Helen Hatton, what you should be doing is you need to, let's say you've got 3 sets of 10. That is your target, okay? If on the first set you get 10 reps and you think, maybe I could have done 2 more there, you've got the right weight. The next set, you may only get 8 reps, and that's absolutely fine. The next set, you may only get 7 reps, that's absolutely fine. You do not then go down in weight until you can get all of the reps. What you do is you make sure you remain at whatever weight that was until you complete all 3 sets of 10. Now that could take you 2 sessions, that could take you 4 sessions. Once you have completed all 3 sets of 10 at that weight, then you increase to the next weight up. It's not necessarily always about hitting those reps. You need to progressively overload. So your first set, you should have what we call 2 reps in reserve. So you should be able to do 2 more reps. That should mean by the second set, you'll probably get another 10. The third set, you may not. And that's absolutely fine. It's to be expected. Once you are getting all 3 sets with relative ease, then you increase the weight. But I don't want you going back down in weight just to hit the 3 sets of 10. That's not how to do it. Is there a particular type of magnesium you should take? I started about a month ago and there is no difference. Mama DJL, you may just not be taking enough. Or you're taking a really shitty quality one. Have you got it from a high street store or have you bought ours? There are a bunch of cowboys out there producing some real turds, so it may not be the right one. First thing I would suggest is that you take a little bit more dependent on how much you're taking. Between 250 and 400 milligrams per night is what I recommend for most people. So check the supplement you have particularly, check the dose you're taking and see if it's anywhere close to that. If not, up the dose. Mika, during the process, do you work in phases? Doing a phase focus, losing fat, another phase focus on building muscles, does it work like that? No, Mika, to a degree, training of any kind, whether we're talking about a, say, 5x5 protocol, strength-based training protocol, or a high volume protocol, both of them are going to burn fat. Without any shadow of a doubt, both of them are going to burn muscle. The diet is what dictates the actual amount of fat you're going to burn. Now, I don't necessarily work in phases like that initially. For me, I want to get you lean. I need to get you lean. Once I get you lean, then I can work on building muscle. I don't do the whole bulk and cut bullshit because in my mind, it's completely idiotic. What I do is I get you lean. Once you are lean, I know then that A, you have good compliance, A, you know how to get results and the best out of your body, and that was B rather, and C, that I can use food to our advantage now. I can put you into a calorie surplus, I can give you loads more carbs, I can give you loads more protein, and your body's gonna use them properly because your muscles are gonna be sucking them in order to repair and recover. This means that in the initial, let's say 12 weeks, which is always a good target, is we get you as lean as possible in those 12 weeks. Once we're at, say, for females around 12 to 14%, males 8 to 10%, that's when I start saying, right, we're going to give you loads more carbs, loads more protein, and we focus on muscle building. After that, the training programs go through periods of high volume, low volume, moderate volume, speed work, all sorts of stuff, which is going to continually put on muscle, it's going to continually put on strength. I then manipulate the diet in order to get the effect of fat loss or muscle building. Very, very simple. Roughly what % of your LiveUP members end up sticking to the plan to a decent degree? Very, very hard to say. You know, I would say out of everyone who joins, 80%, 80 to 85% get a result, an absolute result. 15% don't bother. They get the plan within a week and they're like, oh, actually, maybe I don't want to do this, and they're less likely to do it. Of the people who commit 100%, which, you know, hard to say how many that is, but of the people who do commit 100%, 100% of those people get a transformation, not just a result, they get a transformation. 85% to 90% get a result, 10% don't because they just can't be bothered, there's no compliance there, and the ones who commit fully 100%, they are the ones that get the transformations time after time after time. It is no coincidence that they will all report perfect compliance throughout, and then the transformation shows up, bang, it's done. We've got a bunch of people on here from LiveUP right now. There will be some who are sitting there thinking, shit, yeah, I'm maybe not as compliant as I should be. There are other people on here who have been compliant since day one, maybe a couple of little hiccups and slips, and there will be a massive difference with how they are sitting there looking at their abs, for instance. There's a huge difference in results based on compliance. The fact of the matter is, the LiveUP plan, when I built the LiveUP plan, is I know with every confidence that is arguably the best plan in the world for getting a body transformation, and especially at that price. The only difference is whether someone sticks to it. When's the best time to take magnesium as a female? You say take 2 per day. You take it before bed, 30 minutes before bed, and it's going to be anywhere between 2 and 4 capsules for most common doses. If you're only taking 2 and you get great results from it, i.e. you sleep really, really restfully, then awesome, stick with that. If not, potentially up it. Magnesium is very, very beneficial, especially for you girls when you're on your period. It's very beneficial at keeping you settled, allowing you proper rest, and massively, massively reducing pain, stomach cramps, and the symptoms of PMS. So make sure you have it on hand. It can be especially useful, even if you're supplementing with it at night, to have some magnesium spray or topical magnesium. If you start getting period pains, stomach cramps, etc., rub it on the area and on your stomach, and it will settle that down pretty quickly. Christoph, is there any benefit to joining LiveUP after a 12-week body transformation, especially now at the stage of 12% body fat, down from 23%? I don't want the cost of the one-to-ones, but like the check-ins and advice. There's tons of benefit from it because it makes you accountable. You are still accountable to someone. You still have a routine. You still have something to follow. You still have guidelines. So yes, there is huge, huge benefit to it. If I have a busy day, well done on the body fat, by the way. If I have a busy day at work and I feel tired, should I continue to go to the gym or should I miss it and get good sleep? It depends how regularly you're doing it. If it's, you know, once every 2 or 3 weeks, then go home, get some sleep. If you're doing it 2-3 times a week, then there's a problem. What that tells me is that something is wrong with your general day-to-day. You know, something is off kilter. You're not recovering properly, you're not sleeping properly, something needs to be rebalanced. You often advocate eating more meals spread throughout the day. Is that to prevent cravings, or are there negative effects from, be it from inconsistent? It's to prevent cravings, it's to keep energy levels very, very stable, it's to stop you from thinking about food. I personally find, and it's the only thing that helps me, the more regularly I eat, the harder, fuller, and more pumped my muscles feel throughout the day. At no point am I going, am I feeling like my muscles eating itself, or am I feeling flat? For the majority of people, when they take big, long periods without eating and then shovel in a ton of food, their portions are way too big. They get a massive, massive spike of insulin. They then get a massive food coma. They fall asleep. Their energy levels are unstable. They start smashing coffees down, this, that, and the other. Every one of us has some predisposition to what we feel is preferable to us. For me and for clients, I've always advised eat as regularly as possible. I'm not a fan of intermittent fasting. You know, don't get me wrong, I don't necessarily have a real issue dependent on the client. If someone tells me that they want to build muscle, if they're a skinny guy and they want to build muscle, or a skinny girl and they want to build muscle, and they're intermittent fasting, then whatever, you know, it's a waste of time, complete waste of time. However, if you have fat to lose, I've not necessarily got any issue with someone maybe spending a bit longer before breakfast. That's not the biggest issue in the world because it's going to create a calorie deficit. But on the whole, for most people, for mental sanity, for mental stability, for energetic stability, I would suggest eating as regularly as possible. Together, magnesium made from natural marine salts, got it from Holland and Barrett. Okay, so yeah, it's this is me saying this, not UP. Most of the things that get sold in that high street store, especially the cheaper ones, which is what people go in there for, they want to save a few quid because they can get, you know, this supplement and buy the next one for 2p. Most of it's shit. basically. That's all I'm saying. So you may either want to increase your dosage and at least attempt, or buy something that's actually decent quality, because I get the feeling that's not. VicFit, hello, what's up? Charity, hello to you too. Unfortunately, Charity, you can't be in my video. This is a private video for me only, but thank you for the request. Ollie Freds, what's up? Oh, he's caught up again, we got it. This one's flying through today, folks. It's already 45 minutes past. What have we got? Yeah, fuck. In case any of you ask, the best craving killer you can ever get, sparkling water. 10% battery again now. Best craving killer you can ever get, sparkling water, put some fresh lemon in that. Bob's your mother's brother, craving's gone. Doesn't taste quite the same as chocolate brownie and ice cream, but it's still decent. Live doesn't seem to be working, keeps pausing, has been stuck on pause for a while now. Let anybody else let me know. I know it's paused twice. That's because my battery is gone, but that's been like for maybe 3 seconds at a time. If the same thing is happening to everybody else, let me know, because then potentially it's my Wi-Fi. If not, Mama DJR, it's probably your Wi-Fi. It may well be. So we'll have a look, but it is very, very quiet, so possibly the same thing is happening. Let's see. Anyone there? 15 people. The population of the live feed is dropping, so we may well be on something there. Yep, mine's paused as well. Is it remaining paused? Is it continually pausing, or did it just pause for those few seconds? Don't know what's going on then. Strange, weird. Same here. Okay, it must be my Wi-Fi then. It must be something that's happening at my end. So I apologise for that. I will stop this one. I'm going to end this one and try and jump back on. So give me a minute. End that one, end live video, share, go live again. Well, fancy that, eh? Technical problems, it'll be alright on the night. Okay, I'm back for a second attempt because of all of the pausing. We have 30 minutes left. Can somebody jump in and tell me whether this is continually pausing? I know Megan, one of our girls from the office in Manchester, has just WhatsApped me, I think, to tell me that it's pausing, but we will see. Anybody coming in, Stufa, Tash, can you let me know if this is pausing? Is it being an asshole again, or is this second attempt helping me out a little bit? Are we getting a little bit better? Jojo, what's up? Come on, someone be my eyes and ears over there. Is this pausing? Is it pausing? Are we back on track? That's better, good. So I just needed a restart. Maybe it wasn't my Wi-Fi, maybe it was just Instagram. So Instagram, sort it out. I've had problems with Facebook as well, actually. Facebook in the last month. What are you doing, Facebook? You have made running the LiveUP forums an absolute nightmare. For anyone who's been in the LiveUP forums, I apologise for that, but Facebook seems to have taken away my ability, bearing in mind I try to run these two forums 24/7, my ability to post videos, post comments, edit comments, post pictures. It now doesn't notify me of anything at all that any of the people in the LiveUP program say. So I then have to go back into it every few hours, go through every single post, every single comment manually to try and find out what I need to reply to. Facebook, do you know how hard you are making my life? Fix it. Awesome, right, we're back on track now by the looks of things. I don't know what was going on there. I'm blaming it on Instagram though. What have we got? We've got some new people in as well, right? Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Right, we've got 10 minutes left, folks, and about 9% of battery life left on my phone, so let's see which one's going. I can't imagine I'm going to lose 1% per minute, but you never know. So come at me with some more questions, and let's get these done. We've got basically 8 minutes worth of my nice long answers, then we have a 2-minute quickfire when the timer starts and Instagram tells me to bugger off. So, a while ago you said you were going to do a video for females, bums and abs. Did you do that? We certainly did. All of the videos are being edited. We filmed about 98 videos with a real good friend of mine, Sana, who absolutely incredible physique, very, very strong. They are being edited now and they will be put out very, very shortly. So we've got some really interesting content there. Talking about technique, we've got some little bits and bobs of how to get the most out of your training. And, you know, good to look at as well. Pause when I ask the best time to take magnesium. Best time to take magnesium is about 20 to 30 minutes before bed, and aim to take 250 to 400 milligrams of magnesium before bed. High quality magnesium. I wouldn't recommend going for the cheapest option from your average high street store. You all know which store I'm talking about. Up getting fit with working, 78 hours questions only. Say again. Up getting fit with working 70, 80 hours question earlier. Nah, I'm lost there. You're going to have to give me another one there, Instaphysio. I'm a bit lost. What do you get for the £50 per month on LiveUp? Liam Stewart, if you would like to email your email or direct message your email address, we'll have someone send you all the information on that. Basically, you get full training program, full nutrition, full supplementation program, plus access 24/7 to the online forum with the other people doing the plan. And that is an unbelievable resource. It's where we put all the videos, it's where we put content, it's where I personally answer all of the questions. You also have an online library of about 40 FAQ questions. So when you start, you hit that library and you can get all of your questions answered in one go for those people who choose to look at it. And there's an online exercise library of people like myself or Nick or various others going through about 400 different exercises, which you also have access to. Anything that is not there, you post on the forum, and when I can, providing I'm in the gym, I can get that filmed for you. So pretty much every stone is left turned over. Everything is done for you. You just have to commit to the plan and the results will be yours. What's the thing in mind? Salt and lemon in the morning on the program. Pud, it helps to stimulate the release of digestive enzymes, which is going to reduce bloating massively throughout the day. Now, there's a lot of people who say that it helps to cleanse the liver as well, which potentially is true, but for me, the biggest difference is always digestion. I really like taking something like that and potentially HCl in the morning. It really, really helps the digestive system out massively. At what point of male transformation would you move away from full body workouts? Well, honestly, I wouldn't. Full body workouts work for everything. The whole bro split thing, the chest day, leg day, arms day, blah, 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 blah. In my opinion, for most people, you know, unless it's an assisted athlete, by that I mean taking supplementary chemicals in order to improve your results, most people are not going to get optimal results from that. Full body training is the best way forwards. You may not like it, you may want to do the bro splits because that's what cool people do on Instagram, but as I say, those people are doing slightly more interesting things with their supplementation than you are. Any point in static stretching if you can, PNF stretch? Yeah, PNF stretching is pretty temporary. PNF stretching works instantly but wears off pretty fast, whereas static stretching over time is going to be a better way to actually lengthen the muscle and keep it that way. Whereas PNF, that's just going to act for, let's say, a day or two, maybe not even that, maybe just for wherever you need it to acutely, and then it will return to normal. Do you never overtraining? I feel so bad about getting bursitis, love weight training. Did you make this mistake in your past? 1,000 times over, Vivian. I've overtrained a million times over, not necessarily because of my training, but more because of the rest of my life. And it's, you know, the time demands and physical demands on my life elsewhere have a massive, massive knock-on effect on my training. And unfortunately, I can't prioritize my training because I have many, 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 many people relying on me. So my training has to take the back seat. As I say, I've tried handing over my training to some of the best coaches in the world, and they too have caused me laundry lists of injuries. So yes, I've been there, trust me, I've done that, and sometimes you just need to accept it and rest a little bit more. What's the most accurate way to measure your own body fat? Calipers, Jenny Davis, it would be calipers. So we do a 14-point caliper reading, so it can be done on yourself. It's difficult, but it can be done on yourself. If not, wherever you choose to get yourself measured on, as long as you measure yourself on that at the same time, in the same circumstances, on that same machine every single time, then you pretty much, although it may not necessarily be accurate, it will always be relevant in reference to the start point. How to balance strength training with martial arts, BJJ. You're going to have to give me a bit more information of what the question is there. I'd need to know how much BJJ, I'd need to know what kind of strength training, what are your goals, where do you get high quality magnesium? You go to upfitness.com and you type magnesium in the search bar. Robbie, that forum is awesome, so motivational. Awesome, glad to hear it, Robbie. I'm glad it took a lot of work to get up. The team on there, the LiveUp team, are absolutely unbelievable. All of my boys in the men's forum, all of my girls in the other forum, just smashing. There's so much support there. It's exactly what we built it for. My left shoulder is starting to hurt when I do bench press. I do 2 back exercises, superset and going on shoulder press machine to build up my shoulder. Any advice? We'll look into return to bench press. Amy, you're probably just overusing it. I'm doing too much pressing, or maybe your shoulder's not in the correct position. Remember, with things like that, your bicep training is also going to affect your shoulder and pressing ability. So you may want to back off pressing entirely just for a little bit and work on stretching pec minor, pec major, stretching out the biceps properly and trying to allow the shoulder to rest a little bit. You know, you're not going to lose any real strength there. The reality of it is the majority of females having a jacked chest, A, isn't a good look, and it usually results in injury because you tend to have slightly more rounded shoulders anyway. So I'd recommend just stepping away from it until your shoulder is healed and do an awful lot of stretching on the anterior side. Opinion on Naudi Aguilar functional patterns. I don't know anything about Naudi Aguilar, but it sounds like quite a cool name. Functional patterns, my assumption of that would be just another regurgitation of the whole functional training shit that's been going around for the last 15 years. So I don't know. I don't have an opinion on it, unfortunately. Smartest way to get fit as soon as possible when you are working 70, 80 hours, tired, eating high fats and protein, but feel too tired, not enough energy to work out in the evening. If you're working 70 to 80 hours, the chances are you're doing an awful lot of steps. Insta physio, so I assume you're a physio, which is a very, very physical job. You're going to be wanting to if you're feeling like shit, it's not necessarily going to be a diet. You could be eating too much protein, which can make you lethargic. If you're being very, very conscious of how much you're eating, the fats are going to do you nothing but good. That's absolutely awesome. And then you're going to want to try and prioritize your rest. So what I would maybe think there is get all of that under control before you start thinking about training. When you get all of that under control, you'll probably find that you're going to become more productive, going to become more motivated. All of these things will start to fall into place. So, you know, depending on how much protein you're taking in, you may not necessarily need it. It could be causing lethargy. The fats you're going to want to keep in, always very, very useful. And prioritize your rest. Make sure whatever sleep you are getting is very, very, very good quality sleep. Stevie boy, what's up? Phantom, upper lower splits beneficial for experienced trainees. Yes, absolutely. Doing like a 4-day push-pull style upper lower, very, very good. Willowy, brilliant, cheers. Do love a bro split, but we'll try and stick to full body. Everyone loves bro splits, and don't be wrong, change things up every now and then. You know, enjoy your training. The key is to enjoy your training. If you try to structure it, and I've been here, if you try to structure it too much and you try to overanalyze everything, eventually you will start to resent it and it will be no fun anymore. You know, you'll fall out of love with it, which is not a good thing. So switch things up. The reality of it is, for me, if results are your key motivator, if results are the things that you really are doing this for, then full body is, and variations thereof are always going to be your better option. Right, we are down to the 2-minute mark now, so these are going to be really, really, really fast answers. Stevie boy, can you create a workout for people who can't make it to the gym and work overseas? Stevie boy, yes we can on our one-to-one online training programs, which you can find on upfitness.com. Don't go to LiveUp. LiveUp cannot do that, but our one-to-one online training programs can. What do we got? Natasha Kabauskas, are there squat exercises which are easier on the knees than others? If at your age, Natasha, we went to school together, if at your age you have problems with your knees, you need to start looking after yourself better. The chances are you've got poor mobility in your quads and your hips, so fix that, and you probably won't find there's any issue with your knees unless you have a specific injury, in which case the specific injury is going to dictate which exercises are better. You know, it could be a split squat variation, it could be a lunge variation, something along those lines. But I wouldn't necessarily try to avoid squats because they're bad for the knees. Usually when people squat like shit, that's what causes bad knees. What else have we got? Do you recommend Salivation Extend BCAs during workout? No, I do not. I recommend UP Fitness Amplify during a workout. High leucine content, high glutamine content. It's got glycine and electrolytes, so it's got everything you need to improve protein synthesis, build muscle, recover faster, burn fat, pick up any holes anywhere else. Make sure that you are fully nourished and you're replenishing everything you lose through your sweat, and that it is all absorbed properly. So I advise Amplify. Go to upfitness.com, type Amplify in the search bar. Bhupendra, hello. Adrian PT, what's up? We've got less than 1 minute remaining. Air fryer is a good tool for batch cooking, i.e. for meat and some veg. I've got no idea, I've never used one, and I do my best to stay out of the kitchen because it's one of the things I hate the most in the world. Thanks, man. It's great to have advice, but give advice, but difficult when it's you and needed that external view. 100%. I've been there myself 1,000 times. As I say, I've had at least 10 PTs over the last 5 years for exactly that reason, because I'm amazing at giving advice. I just don't necessarily want to have to think for myself. So, absolutely. Bhupendra, can you get results from online training as I see on Instagram? You sure can. In fact, everything you see on my Instagram is from my online training or LiveUP, or a lot of the stuff you see on the Upfitness main page can be from either online training or in-gym training or LiveUP. So absolutely, yes, you can. The results you get are entirely down to how hard you want to try. Most inspiring physique you've seen? Honestly, I can't say that because I don't know off the top of my head. It depends on the person. Usually I'm not necessarily that inspired by physiques. I'm probably more inspired by abilities. Let's say if anyone, someone I really, really like at the moment is so you got the traditional ones, you got people like Frank Zane. There's a guy called Arko Rahim, he's a Swedish gladiator and he's got a sick physique, really, really good, and he's a funny guy as well. It's Marbella members only, or can folks walk in? You can walk in and you can join as a membership or guest passes via your YouTube page. I'm not sure what the first part of that question was, Sinai, but I am out. So thank you for joining me. I've been Elliot Upton, this has been Upfitness Live. I'm talking really, really fast, so I'm gonna say goodbye. Peace out, and I'll see you in 2 weeks' time. I will try, if my Wi-Fi allows, which it didn't last week, to get this up on YouTube as soon as possible. So get on over to my YouTube channel at Elliot Upton, check that out, and do feel free to send any more questions to the direct message page, and then our lovely Jessica will email me with any questions you have in order to answer them and still get you the information that you need. So peace out. Bye-bye. Well, there we go. Hopefully this one makes it up to YouTube, because YouTube's been doing all sorts of really, really funny things with my profile recently, deleting videos. God knows where they've gone. There's no answers from YouTube, so I don't know what's happening. But thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions about anything, put them in the comments box below. I've also put the links for everything you may need to know in the description boxes below, so do check them out. Until I see you again on @Upfitness Live, I've been Elliot Upton. As you just heard, goodbye.